recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Final score on this Saturday in Washington, D.C. The Nationals 9 and the Padres 4 as the Nats even up this three-game series at a game apiece, setting up the rubber match of this series tomorrow. A lot to do on our post-game coverage as we welcome you inside our San Diego studios. Sam Levitt with you here on the Padres Radio Network. We have all the radio highlights for you. We'll recap this game from start to finish. We'll go back to Nationals Park in D.C. Hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. Well, for a while today, it looked like this would be a great day for the Padres in so many different ways. And before we get to the pitching and what happened to the Padres in the seventh inning in particular, let's actually begin with the good. What was the good in this game? Well, Xander Bogaerts hitting a home run. That was good. Manny Machado hitting a home run to make it 2-1. That was good. Fernando Tatis Jr. launching his first home run of 2026. Finally, that was great to see. The Padres had a 3-1 lead heading into the bottom half of the seventh inning. And Michael King, to that point, had not only been very effective, but he had been very, very efficient. 64 pitches through 6 innings, and the lone run he had allowed through 6 innings was the solo home run by Drew Millis in the third. That was it. Padres had a 3-1 lead. He was 64 pitches in heading into the bottom half of the seventh inning. But then King, well, he just did not have that same command at all in the seventh inning. And the seventh inning unraveled on Michael King and then Bradley Rodriguez. A single by C.J. Abrams, an infield single by Tenna, then a walk, then a hit by pitch, then Rodriguez comes in. And you have the fielder's choice where Xander Bogaerts doesn't have his foot on the bag and everybody's safe. And Craig Stammen comes out after the call stands following a Padres challenge. Craig Stammen gets thrown out of a game for the first time in his managerial career, then a walk to Meade, then later a 2-run single for Garcia, then a fielder's choice. And all in all, the Washington Nationals put together a 6-run bottom half of the seventh inning. They had 3 singles in the inning, 6 runs on 3 singles. And how were they able to do that? Well, the walks, the hit by pitch, the defense, the lack of command, it all sort of came crashing down for the Padres in that bottom half of the seventh inning. Went from a 3-1 Padre lead to a 7-3 deficit. So it's unfortunate because there was a while today where this felt like it was going to be a great win, like the Padres were going to set themselves up to maybe sweep this series tomorrow. King was rolling. You had a lot of good things offensively. Obviously, one of the great moments of today was Fernando finally hitting a home run. You felt really, really good about where this game was at. But Michael King, and look, I don't know how much it had to do with it or not, but before that seventh inning started, King had asked for the grounds crew to work on the mound. I don't know if that played a role, but Michael King, who had been cruising, just did not have it in the seventh inning. And it was clear his command was not there. And then Bradley Rodriguez wasn't great. The defense, didn't help Rodriguez out either. I understand that. Didn't help King out either. I understand that. But just ended up being a seventh inning that totally unraveled on Michael King and then Bradley Rodriguez and the Padres defense. And look, if there's one thing the Nationals have showed you in this series so far, they can score. They can find ways to generate offense. We saw it yesterday, and we saw it here today late, certainly. So tough one here today for the Padres. And again, you just point back to that seventh inning. Just a rare time this season, and especially from a Padre bullpen standpoint, where we've seen an inning just totally unravel. And that's exactly what happened in that seventh inning, despite up until that point, a lot of good in this game from a Padres perspective. When we come back, we'll recap it from start to finish. We have a lot to get to. All the radio highlights for you. We'll go back to Nationals Park in D.C., hear from Craig Stammen. Much, much more to do. Our final score here today, Nationals 9 and the Padres 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score here today, the Nationals 9 and the Padres 4. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, a player with epic SoCal views, a full bar, and poolside bites. Starlight Pool at Jamul Casino Resort is pool season perfected, and day passes are available. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. We'll go back to D.C., hear from Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We may also have some additional post-game reaction from inside the Padres clubhouse, but right now, let's recap what was another back-and-forth affair today in D.C.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup today, Michael King on the mound for the Padres, left-hander Foster Griffin on the mound for the Nationals. Both starting pitchers gave up leadoff singles in the first inning. Both guys induced double plays to help them through the inning. We had a scoreless game in the second. Xander Bogaerts changed that.
3-1. Bogart swings, sends it in the air to right center field. Cruz racing back into the gap at the wall, looking up. This one gonna go. Xander Bogaerts into right center. His 8th home run of the season, and over the tall wall here in D.C. The Padres go ahead 1-0, and another home run allowed by Foster Griffin.
And the first opposite field home run for Xander in a few years. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Padres still led 1-0 in the bottom half of the third. Second batter of the inning against King was Drew Millis.
One out, nobody on for Millis. He swings at the first pitch, hits it in the air, deep to right field, way back and gone. Off the back wall of the bullpen in right field. Drew Millis' second home run of the season, a game-tying shot here in the third. It's 1-1.
So 1-1 game going to the fourth inning. Padres would respond against Griffin. Manny Machado led off.
Manny hits this one in the air, deep down the left field line, hooking towards the pole and off the screen, a home run. Manny Machado with his 10th of the year, and the Padres go back ahead. It's 2-1.
King pitched a 1-2-3 bottom half of the fourth inning. In the top of the fifth, Griffin still on the mound. He faced Fernando Tatis Jr.
Fernando swings, hits it in the air, deep to left field. This one way back and gone. The seal has been broken, and Fernando Tatis Jr. on May 30th has hit his first home run of the season.
Finally, it was a missile. 114 mile per hour exit velocity, 451 feet in the air to left field. His fastest exit velocity of the year. And how about this? His longest home run since September of 2021. It finally came, and Fernando crushed it. That made it a 3-1 Padre lead. Griffin would go 5 innings. He allowed the 3 solo home runs. Meanwhile, King continued to roll 5 scoreless innings to begin his day, but then he got in a bit of trouble in the 6th inning. Runners on first and third with 2 men away, but he got a fly out from Dalen Lyle to end the inning. Padres still ahead 3-1. King had thrown just 64 pitches as he took the mound in the bottom of the 7th, but he then got in major trouble. C.J. Abrams hit a leadoff single. Jose Tena was given an infield single on a hot shot that Fernando Tatis Jr. fielded cleanly. His throw a little wild to second. Everybody was safe. Then Jorbit Bibas walked to load the bases with nobody out. King then hit Dylan Cruz with a sinker on the very first pitch. A run scored. That cut the Padres' lead to 3-2, and the bases were still loaded with nobody out. Craig Stammen went to Bradley Rodriguez. Rodriguez got a ground ball from Drew Millis to second base. Tatis made the throw to shortstop, but the ruling at second base was that Xander Bogaerts wasn't on the second base bag when he received the throw. Everybody was safe. The Padres challenged. It was close at second as to whether Bogaerts had a foot up against the bag, but the ruling stood. That would ultimately give Bogaerts an error on the play. The game was tied at 3. Nationals still had the bases loaded with nobody out. Craig Stammen came out to argue the challenge ruling, and he was thrown out of the game. First time he's been ejected as a major league manager. So a tie game 3-3. Nationals still, bases juice, nobody out. Curtis Mead then pinch hit for the number 9 batter, Nasim Nunez. Rodriguez walked him. That forced in the go-ahead run. Nationals took a 4-3 lead. They still had the bases loaded with nobody out. Rodriguez then struck out James Wood for out number 1. So, some light at the end of the tunnel. Looked like maybe Rodriguez would be able to figure his way out of the rest of the inning, maybe keep it a 1-run deficit, but it was then Luis Garcia Jr. at the plate.
2-2, the pitch to Garcia, hit on the ground sharply up the middle, into center to base hit. Cruz has scored, Millis is racing home, the throw will go to third base, it is not in time to get Mead. A 2-run single for Luis Garcia Jr., and the Washington lead is now 6-3.
Nats weren't done. With runners on first and third, Dalen Lyle hit into a fielder's choice. He beat the throw to first base. A run scored. It was 7-3. Nats scored 6 runs in the 7th inning. They had just 3 singles in the inning. That was it. They led 7-3 after 7. But the Padres wouldn't go down quietly. Gus Varland came on for the Nationals in the top of the 8th inning. He got the first 2 outs, but then Miguel Andujar drew a 2-out walk. He went to second on a wild pitch. A runner in scoring position for Manny Machado.
Padres trying to cut into this 4-run deficit. Pitch to Manny, hit on a line into left field, a base hit. And Duhar will round third, come in to score. Manny takes the turn at first, trying for 2. Lyles throw, the tag not in time. RBI double Manny Machado, his second extra base hit of the day, and it's 7-4.
So Padres had a little bit of life, down 7-4 in the eighth inning. Varlin then was all over the place. He issued back-to-back two-out walks on 8 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone. So all of a sudden, the Padres had the bases loaded with 2 men away, and they had the tying runs on base, the go-ahead run at the plate. Nationals manager Blake Butera went to righty Clayton Beeter to face Ty France. France grounded out to end the inning. Beeter stranded, the bases loaded, and the Padres still trailed 7-4. In the bottom half of the eighth inning, Wandy Peralta came on. He would issue a leadoff walk, then a single, then a couple of fielders' choices that kept 2 runners on base. Curtis Mead, who pinch hit earlier in the game, a 2-run double. That made it 9-4. Beeter would come on, allow a couple of base runners in the 9th inning, but that was that. And the final score here today, the Nationals 9 and the Padres 4. So despite the Padres having a 3-1 lead heading into the bottom half of the 7th inning, Michael King at under 65 pitches through 6. Well, it all came unraveled with the 6-run bottom half of the 7th inning. Nats get 2 more in the 9th inning after the Padres get 1 back in the 8th. And that was the story here today as the Nationals win the middle game of this series. And it sets up the rubber game of this 3-game set tomorrow in D.C. When we return, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We may also have some additional post-game reaction for you from inside the Padres clubhouse. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues after these words. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios. Final score today, Nationals 9 and the Padres 4. Padres dropped 32-25 on the year. Nationals improved to 30-29, setting up the rubber game of this series tomorrow. Padres have now lost 5 of 6. Remember, they entered this road trip on a 4-game skid, but still an opportunity to win this series tomorrow. We'll talk more about tomorrow's game coming up a little bit later on. Before we hear from Craig Stammen, again, just to quickly recap this one in case you're just joining us on what is a gorgeous Saturday, final Saturday of May here in San Diego. Really beautiful, beautiful day. So who knows? Maybe you're at the beach or whatever. You're just hopping in the car, finding out what happened in the game. Well, this game was going really well until the 7th inning. Padres had a 3-1 lead on the strength of 3 solo home runs, one by Bogaerts, one by Machado, and one by, wait for it, Fernando Tatis Jr., his first home run of 2026. We'll recap the home run a little bit later and kind of give you some just crazy numbers on it, both the exit velo and the distance, but also the drought that Fernando was in the midst of. But finally, Fernando hits his first home run of the year, a solo shot in the 5th inning, makes it 3-1. Michael King was at just 64 pitches through 6 innings of 1-run ball, but then in the 7th inning just did not have the same command. There were singles, there were walks, there were hit batsmen, there was an error, there was kind of a controversial call at second base. I mean, it was everything that could go wrong for the Padres in that 7th inning kind of went wrong, and the Nationals end up scoring 6 runs in the bottom half of the 7th inning. 4 of them charged to Michael King, 2 of them charged to Bradley Rodriguez, but either way, obviously an inning that did not go well. Again, the crazy thing about that 7th inning, the Nationals had 3 hits in that 7th inning, and in the process, 3 hits, and by the way, all of them were singles, and in the process, they scored 6 runs. Also in the process, Craig Stammen was ejected for the first time in his career. Now, that ejection came after the Padres had challenged the play that tied the game. That was the fielder's choice off the bat of Millis. Tatis picking it up, going to second. And the ruling at second base was that Xander Bogaerts did not have his foot on the second base bag. And on replay, look, you may disagree. I thought it could kind of go either way. And I'll be honest, I sort of understood why the call stood. Maybe Xander had his foot up against the bag, maybe not. It was really, really close. And again, it's one of those situations that I thought Jesse and Tony did a good job of illustrating this. We've seen this a lot where these calls, if they're really, really close, in many cases, the replay room will just err on the side of going with the call in the field and saying the call stands. And that's what it felt like that one was. Doesn't mean that's the right way to go about it per se, but it felt like just as you watched it, I kind of had that feeling where I was like, I think they're going to make this call stand. I don't know that there's enough to overturn the call in the field. And that's exactly what happened. And then Craig Stammen came out. He started arguing about the challenge result, which you can't do. And actually, they gave him a little while to argue, and then he got thrown out of the game for the first time as Padres manager. That was certainly a key play in that inning, but to be honest with you, a lot of other things happened in that inning as far as the walks and the wildness and I don't know that the result of this game is different. It would have been nice for the Padres to have an out in that scenario instead of the bases still loaded with nobody out. No doubt about it. May have made it easier for Bradley Rodriguez to get out of that inning with the game tied or with a 1-run deficit. But a lot went wrong in that 7th inning, including the Padres not getting a break there on the play at second and the challenge call. And unfortunately for them, the call stood and was a piece of what became a very, very big inning for the Nats. With all that in mind, let's go back to Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. and hear from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
It was kind of crazy, huh? Michael didn't feel like it fell apart. It was kind of a weird 7th inning.
Yeah, real weird 7th inning, low pitch count. He was kind of cruising. A little bit of traffic in the 6th inning, but got out of it really fast. Then gave it the hit and then walk, hit batter. Happened kind of quick, but just unraveled first there in that 7th.
What is your vantage point, or what were your thoughts, and what are they now probably seeing at the play with Xander?
Yeah, I think his foot was on the base, but they reviewed it. If we're going to have review, you'd like to think we get the call right. My eyes may be different than someone else's.
Imagine you walked out there knowing that would be your first ejection.
Yeah. That's, typically if you go out on a replay review, you're getting ejected. It took them a while to send me, but, did what I could. I guess I'm too nice sometimes.
On this day, there was this other glorious event that happened, and what was that like in the dugout and to watch as Fernando got a hold of one?
Yeah, it was very exciting for everybody. I felt like, he's been carrying that burden. The team has been carrying that burden. He hit the one foul earlier, and everybody's, hey, it's going to come. Don't, Manny's joking, like, you'll get one of these days. And then he finally got it. It was a good celebration in the dugout. That's what baseball's all about, is acting like little 10-year-olds and, funds and things like that. It takes the pressure off, all the, attention that a guy like him gets.
You don't get too many, especially the first 5 innings. I think it was 47 pitches. Michael, maybe the sinker wasn't as good as he would want it, because he's always a problem with something, but how good was he?
He was so good. There was how many ground balls to the second baseman? It was like he was trying to get Toddy the Gold Glove today on his own. And just roll over ground balls. If they got a hit, it was a double play ball. When you're a sinker ball pitcher, that's exactly what you're looking for. And against an all left-handed lineup, I thought he hung in there really good. Just that, 7th inning, felt like he was going to get another one of those ground balls and just didn't quite get it. Didn't quite get in the zone.
That first one, you feel like Toddy could have gone to first?
He could have, but you're diving, and honestly, diving that way and trying to throw to first base is pretty difficult. You just figure out a way to get it out there. We just didn't get it out, and that would have been a big out in that inning.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 9-4 loss for the Padres in Washington, D.C. Sam Levitt back with you inside our San Diego studios. Our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Look, a lot of, interesting thoughts there about the challenge at second base. Again, from my vantage point watching the replays, I thought it could have gone either way. I certainly understand Craig is going to look at it with the Padres glasses on, as he should. And by the way, he very well may have been right, because I thought it could have gone either way. I'll put it this way. I was not surprised based on the replay and the call on the field and knowing what we know about how these usually go and how in a lot of instances the call on the field does carry a lot of weight. It did feel like that one was one of these instances where I was not surprised that they just went with the call on the field. Thought it was close. I did. I could see too where Xander's foot was up against the bag. But it was close. It was. And I thought it could have gone either way. But again, I don't know that you can boil down that inning to that play. There was a lot of stuff that went on in that inning. Did it help that the Padres didn't get any outs on that play? No, of course not. But, you talk about the walks and the hit by pitch and the base hit, and there was just a lot that went on in that 7th inning that contributed to a 6th spot for the Nationals. I do, just on a positive note, I do want to give you just some of the numbers here about the Tatis home run as we sort of put a bow on this incredibly hard to believe home run drought for Fernando Tatis Jr. The home run in the 5th inning today snapped a 210 at-bat stretch between home runs for Fernando Tatis Jr. It snapped the longest homerless streak of his career at 243 plate appearances going back to September 27th of last season. His home run had an estimated distance of 451 feet. His farthest home run since September of 2021 at Dodger Stadium, when he hit it 467 feet. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't here in 2021. I was in Amarillo, Texas, still working at AA. Was that, and I should have looked this up before I came on. I didn't, admittedly, but maybe the fans out there, people in the YouTube chat, X, Instagram, you can tell me. Was that when Fernando hit it out of the stadium in LA at Dodger Stadium. I thought maybe that was earlier in the season, just based on what I've seen about that. But you tell me. I should have looked that up. I didn't think about it until a few minutes ago. But I was not here. I was working in Amarillo. So maybe you can tell me about that. But his farthest home run since September of 2021, I would imagine there's a shot that was it, because it was 467. His last home run of over 445 feet was September of 2024. So it had been a while since he even hit a home run that far. Finally, the home run had an exit velo of 114 miles per hour. It was his fastest exit velo of the year and the fastest exit velo of any home run by a Padre this season. Manny had one at 109.6, so he actually crushed that mark. He hit it hard and he hit it far. And look, it was an impressive swing. You hope it's a sign of Fernando starting to find it again. I mean, that swing, the finish, the distance, the exit velo, that looked like the Fernando you know and love. That looked like the Fernando that's capable of hitting 30 to 40 home runs. I mean, that was the kind of swing. So to see that he's still capable of that kind of swing and that kind of contact and power, it's a good reminder that it's still in there, and now you hope it's a sign of things to come. We're going to find out. I mean, let's hope it's not another 200 plate appearances until his next home run, but that was a great sign. And I understand this was a tough loss today because you really felt like this game was in a great spot heading into the bottom half of the seventh inning. You felt like the game was in a great spot, even though it was a tough loss. Don't let it get lost that if this was the start of Fernando, starting to figure it out from a power perspective, it's a really big deal. And I'll tell you what, too, the interesting thing about Fernando has been, even before the home run today, and we've talked about this the last handful of days, he's been really good. I mean, he's been getting on base at a super high clip. He's been hitting for average. He has been really productive. And now if he can add the power piece to it, it's a major development for this team. So tough loss, but no doubt in the bigger picture, hopefully a very, very good sign for Fernando Tatis Jr. When we come back, we'll talk more about this game. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. If you want to squeeze a phone call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call. Again, the final score here today, Nationals 9 and the Padres 4 on the Padres Radio Network.
The seal has been broken, and Fernando Tatis Jr. on May 30th has hit his first home run of the season.
Upon contact, put his hands in the air, looked to the sky.
Manny Machado has come out of the dugout to greet him. He gets a big hug from Gavin Sheets, who's coming up next. A high five from Andujar and a big celebration and big high fives as he goes down the dugout steps.
Fernando Tatis Jr., his first home run of the season today. Really nice moment in, unfortunately, what ends up being a 9-4 loss for the Padres in Washington, D.C. Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. on the call just earlier here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside our San Diego studios as we continue our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open. Day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Well, for as much as I would love to go on the Padres side of things for relief pitcher of the game today, I really can't, because Bradley Rodriguez had a really tough outing. Wandy Peralta had a tough outing, and those were the two relief pitchers used by the Padres today. So one of those days we're going to have to go on the national side of things. And quite frankly, I think it's obvious in the flow of this game who that relief pitcher of the game was. And to me, it's got to be Clayton Beeter, the right-hander out of the Nationals bullpen, because when you talk about shutting the door or slamming the door shut, as the intro says, he did that in the eighth inning. Keep in mind, after the Padres trailed 7-3 going into that eighth inning following that 6-run bottom of the seventh, they then made a lot of noise in the eighth inning despite having the first two hitters of the inning retired by Gus Varlin. Varlin then walked Miguel Andujar. He went to second on a wild pitch. Manny drove him in with an RBI double to make it 7-4, so a little bit of life for the Padres. And then Varlin couldn't throw a strike. He issued back-to-back 4-pitch walks to Merrill and Bogarts to load the bases. All of a sudden, the Padres had the tying runs on base, the go-ahead run at the plate, and Ty France, who hit a home run yesterday. And then Beeter came in to face France, got him to ground out. Beeter went back out for the ninth inning and put together a scoreless frame, and ultimately does get a save in this game, his third save of the season. So that was a big-time job, big-time performance from the Nationals right-hander Clayton Beeter. Again, came in with the tying runs on base, go-ahead run at the plate in the eighth inning, and maneuvered his way out of it. Let's take a look at the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Well, kind of quiet day for the Heart of the Order. 3, 4, 5 spots in the Padres lineup, aside from Manny, who had a nice day. Andujar 0 for 3 did walk and score a run, as we just said. Manny did have 2 hits, including the home run, 2 RBIs, so he had a good day. And Jackson Merrill was 0 for 3, didn't have a walk in this game. So out of the Heart of the Order, 3, 4, 5 spots, Manny really the one that shined today with the 2 hits, the home run, the RBI double. Productive day for Manny. And that's a look at what the Padres' Heart of the Order did in this 9-4 defeat in D.C. All right, let's squeeze in a phone call or two. 833-288-0973, phone number to call. We begin things on the phones on this Saturday afternoon with Ryan in San Diego. Ryan, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Go ahead.
Hey, Sammy. Not much to say about today other than they just let the game slip away from them in the seventh. I'm happy for Fernando getting on the board with that first homer. And I feel like the Padres offense collectively is performing a lot better on the road, maybe because it's the Nationals pitching staff not being great, but they're still doing better. I'm hoping they can salvage the final game of the series tomorrow.
Yeah, Ryan, agree with you pretty much on all points. Look, I think offensively yesterday was great. If you just want to pull away the individual stuff from the last couple of days, the fact that Merrill had such a nice swing yesterday after the 2 hits on Wednesday, the fact that Manny has had a nice couple of days, including the home run today, out of all of it, Fernando hitting a home run and continuing to look really solid. Remember, he had 3 hits yesterday, so he's had a really good series. And he had 2 hits today, including the home run. I'll tell you what, if there was like a crystal ball out there, and it could, well, maybe not a crystal ball, but if you gave me 2 paths to walk down, okay, before today's game started, and the first path was, well, Sam, one option for this game, one path you can walk down is Fernando Tatis Jr. homers, and it jumpstarts his season from a power perspective, a slug perspective, but you're going to lose the game. Padres are going to lose. But Fernando's going to homer, and it's going to mean a lot. It's going to really jumpstart him. And the other option was, well, Fernando's going to take an over and going to show no signs of breaking out, and the Padres are going to win the game. It may sound crazy. There's a very good argument to take the path where Fernando homers and it jumpstarts him, because that's so important to the big picture of this season. So the reason I bring that up, I'm not trying to excuse loss or minimize the loss, but what I am saying is I do think the Fernando part of this is a major silver lining to pull away from this game. Look, you're going to have sort of implosion type innings. They will happen to the best of teams and the best of bullpens and the best of starting pitchers. And that's kind of what happened in the 7th inning. Again, I'm not excusing it. This was not a great loss. This was a tough loss because you felt like this game was in a really good spot heading into that bottom half of the 7th inning. However, in the big picture, if what we saw today from Fernando and Merrill the last couple of days, if and even Manny today, if you're seeing those guys start to figure it out, that's a major development. We'll see. We're going to find out over the course of the next handful of days. But look, tough loss, but there were things to pull away, certainly, that were good for the Padres offensively once again in this game. All right, let's step aside. When we come back, we'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard. I'm laughing. I think our guy Nick is ready to go. He wants to watch that NBA basketball coming up. I feel him. Made me laugh. All right, we'll come back. We'll get to the out-of-town scoreboard, play of the game, and get you ready for the final game of this series on the Padres Radio Network. Casino Resort Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score today, Nationals 9 and the Padres 4. We'll have our play of the game in a moment. We'll also preview tomorrow's game, the final and rubber game of this 3-game set in Washington, D.C. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have most of the games final today. Astros beat the Brewers 9-2 in Houston. Mets beat the Marlins 6-1 in New York. Red Sox beat the Guardians in Cleveland 9-1. Angels beating up on the Rays in Tampa Bay 14-3. Rangers 7, Royals 6 in Arlington. Orioles beating the Blue Jays 6-5 in Baltimore. The Pirates edging by the Twins 10-9 in Pittsburgh. White Sox winning again after a walk-off home run yesterday. They win at 7-1 against the Tigers in Chicago. Couple of games going on right now. Reds 2, Braves 1 in the second in Cincinnati. Cubs and the Cardinals in the third in St. Louis. They are scoreless there. The Giants play the Rockies coming up at 6:10 in Colorado. Adrian Hauser on the mound for San Francisco. Ryan Feltner on the mound for Colorado. Yankees and the A's in Sacramento at 7:05. Ryan Weathers against JT Ginn, the pitching matchup there. D-backs against the Mariners in Seattle at 7:10. Brian Wu on the mound for the M's. Ryan Nelson on the mound for Arizona. Phillies and the Dodgers in LA at 7:10. Jesus Luzardo against Roki Sasaki, the pitching matchup at Dodger Stadium tonight. And that is a quick full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. Final score again in D.C. Nationals beat the Padres 9-4. Let's hear today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Phil Hell Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
2-2. The pitch to Garcia. Hit on the ground sharply up the middle into center to base hit. Cruz has scored. Millis is racing home. The throw will go to third base. It is not in time to get Meade. A 2-run single for Luis Garcia Jr. And the Washington lead is now 6-3.
Luis Garcia Jr., that 2-run single, part of the 6-run 7th inning for the Nationals. Unfortunately, today's play of the game felt like it kind of had to be that way. That was the big hit in that 7th inning, made it go from a 4-3 deficit to a 6-3 deficit. You know, if Bradley Rodriguez is somehow, some way able to keep the deficit at 1 in that 7th inning, you feel totally different about this game. And in fact, the Padres would score a run, get one back in the top half of the 8th inning, and put together a rally, put the tying runs on base. But that 2-run single by Garcia, that was a really, really, really big swing as part of that 6-run 7th inning. One of just 3 hits, 3 singles for the Nationals in that inning, but they took advantage of the walks and the hit by pitch and some sloppy defense and got the benefit of the challenge call standing at second base. So a lot went the Nats' way in that 7th inning, but ultimately the decisive inning in this game, setting up the rubber game of this 3-game series. Speaking of the rubber game tomorrow, early one tomorrow, first pitch at 10:35 a.m. here on the West Coast, so it'll be a little Padres and pancakes for you on a Sunday morning. We'll be on the air at 9:35 a.m. with our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. Right-hander Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres tomorrow. Right-hander Zach Littell on the mound for the Nationals. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here today for the Nats. 9 runs, 8 hits, no errors. They left on 4. For the Padres, 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. They left left on 8. Winning pitcher today, Brad Lord, who improves to 3-0. Losing pitcher, Michael King, who drops to 4-4. And the save goes to Clayton Beater, his third of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 44 minutes. And the crowd at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., 30,765. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 10:35 a.m. Our pregame coverage will begin at 9:35. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Nick Tanucci, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from inside our San Diego studios. Again, the final score here today, the Washington Nationals 9 and the San Diego Padres 4. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning right here on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Saturday.